This episode was sponsored by one of my previous guests, the amazing Demora Avarice. So make sure you go check out her episode as well as her links in the description below. And welcome back to another episode of the Huge Boob Corner. I am your host, Peter McLean, and I just want to say to everybody that's been supporting the show, thank you so much. And if you want to keep supporting the show, make sure you like, share, and subscribe so you can help us grow. Now, today is actually going to be a very special episode, not because I have just an amazingly beautiful and busty guest, but also we're at a milestone. This is episode 50 of the Huge Boob Corner. So, would you please welcome to the show, Just Having Fun with Life.
Hi.
How you doing?
I'm good.
You're back again because you're here for your year. Or you're usually here once a year, or you come back maybe a couple times?
I came back for my kid's 21st in October, but otherwise, yeah, once a year for AVN. But this might be my last.
Really?
Yeah.
Are you looking like to kind of wrap things up? Or
no, just I've, done everything that there's to do.
Here?
Yeah, and like with companies and AVN and everything.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, happy to get you on your swan song visit.
Yeah.
In that sense.
Yeah.
So yeah, we were talking before we started about how you have, you're known by multiple names.
Yeah.
So do you want to explain how each one came to be and how you decide which one you prefer to go by?
Yes. So when I started posting on Instagram in 2015, I did it as I want to get back to the person I used to be happy with life and be fun and bubbly, because I was always accused of smiling too much and being too giggly. And I was like, I haven't been that in a while. So I made the Instagram Just Having Fun with Life.
Okay.
And I put underscores in between each word, which is, don't ever do that. Just do it all one word. It's horrible.
Yeah.
And so I went by that for a very long time, but it's too long. It's too many characters for Twitter, and it's too many characters for mini vids, and it's too many characters for a lot of sites. It actually fit on OF, so that was nice. But also, at the time, I wasn't selling content, and so I thought when I wanted to start posting explicit content, I didn't want it to be associated with that username. So then I came up with another one.
Okay.
Happy-go-lucky pyro.
Okay.
Because I was a firefighter before. So I was like pyro, happy-go-lucky. So those two.
Yeah.
So I started posting my naughty stuff on Tumblr under that and on Twitter. And then about 5 years ago, I decided to make more PG content because everything was going crazy. And I was like, well, I better make a PG name. So then I did Just Smiles and Joy.
Okay.
And then I wanted to verify my Instagram. So then I just came out with my real name.
Okay. Okay.
So now I'm with Tanisha.
Okay. All right.
There's a lot of usernames. I don't recommend it. Don't ever do it that way. It was horrible.
Yeah.
It's dumb for marketing purposes, but...
Well, yeah, because spreading yourself over and on multiple names, then it can get a little confusing to be like, oh, is this the same person?
Yep.
And but you primarily still use the Just Having Fun with Life as
yes,
as your primary.
I'm trying to just use that. Like, even in Twitter, it's... The handle's Happy-Go-Lucky Pyro, but like the name is Just Smiles and Joy.
Yeah.
Or Just Having Fun with Life.
Yeah.
And then on my PG Twitter, it's Just Smiles and Joy, but then it says Just Having Fun with Life. I put both everywhere.
Yeah.
So
well, and that what's interesting is that you didn't choose like just kind of a regular stage name where it was just like
Brittany Smith or something.
Where you just choose a name like that. But I mean, I guess when you were, because it seemed like you gradually got into the modeling stuff, so it just kind of happened as opposed to you kind of sitting down. It's like, okay, this is going to be my name,
exactly,
and this is from day one, and then go from there.
Yes, because I didn't have any intention of selling, because I kind of started things thinking I just needed to get some public opinion on my body and get back to thinking that, or get back to accepting it.
Yeah,
and at that point, I was like, no one would pay.
Yeah.
I'm not ever going to sell, And so I was like, I'm never doing that. I don't need to worry about it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and we'll get into that. So, but I wanted to start more with your background before you get into your modeling so that we can get a nice little
I'm just saying I wasn't prepared like I should have been.
Yeah. No, it's fine. So you were saying that in the notes that you are a military veteran or
Yes.
firefighter or both. So
Yes.
you're in the fire department and you're in the military.
Yes, I went into the Air Force and I wanted a medical career field. They didn't have any openings and they wanted to make me a cop. And I was like, please don't. And
Military police MP?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I was like, no, thank you. And they were like, well, you can be a firefighter if you can lift this 100 pounds over your head. And I was like, well, and at that time I was big into weightlifting. I was like benching 165 and stuff. And, and I had a lot of muscles. So I was like, let's try it. So I went in the room to do it. And at MEPS, when you prepare to go into the military, they make you lift at least 40 over your head. And I had done that flying colors. I was like, this is easy.
Yeah.
So he was like 100. I was like, I probably can. He said he set the machine at 45. So I go to do it thinking it's going to be super light. It was a little hard. And I was so pissed because I was like, that was really hard. I can't do 100. And when I got done, he goes, that was 100. And I was like, thanks, dude.
Yeah.
So then I got to be a firefighter, which in my mind was EMT medical still. And I was like, and I'm strong enough to be a fireman, so I could do it.
Yeah.
So then I did.
Okay. And so I assume at the time that was the base requirement for anybody.
Yeah.
Being a firefighter. Because there's been, because like the stuff going on in LA currently with those fires, there's been, some controversy with people saying like should
Right. Yeah.
With
I had to lift the same dummy over my head that they did, and I had to drag the same dummy.
Okay.
He weighs the same
for everybody.
Yeah. And he weighs 175 pounds, I believe.
All right.
And at the time, a couple of years into it, my husband is 6'4", and he probably weighed like 240, and I fireman carried him.
Nice.
So I mean, I was not a string bean or nothing.
Okay.
I wasn't a buff person either, but I had muscle.
Yeah. You had strength.
Yeah.
Now I'm just imagining on your wedding night you carrying him.
No, not that way. I don't think I could baby carry him.
Okay. But the shoulder.
Over the shoulder, yeah.
Well, because women have powerful legs.
Yeah, leg and arm.
Yeah.
Holds, yeah.
So when did you join the Air Force then? How old were you?
In 1999. Or maybe
not old, but just when? Okay.
In 1999. I came in in 1999, and I would have been 18.
Oh, wow. Okay. So right from the start.
Yeah.
What was it about the Air Force in particular? Because, they're like Navy, Army. Was it just?
Well, when I went to the recruiting office, I first went to the Army because I just thought, well, I don't know. If my grades are shit, I'm going to see. Because I thought you had to have better grades or something.
Yeah.
So I went to the Army guy, and then he was trying to, keep me as a recruit. And the Air Force woman, she came over and she was like, don't do that. Do this. And I was like, but can I with these grades? She's like, they don't care about your grades as long as you can pass the test and you get your diploma. You just needed your diploma, and then you take the ASVAB and get your scores that way. And that's what matters. And to be in the Air Force, you have to get at least a 40. The other branches, it's lower and lower and lower.
Okay.
And so I totally passed that. And she's like, yeah, you can.
Does that determine like if you're going to go into, say, pilot training or not?
Those are most Air Force pilots are officers. There's enlisted and officers.
Oh, yeah.
Officers need 4-year degrees.
Yeah, so you need.
So I was just high school.
Well, I was going to say, I know that other branches have like an OCS or a form of like going from enlisted to officer.
And you can do that once you're in the Air Force too. You can go to OTS, Officer Training School.
Yeah.
But I didn't.
You didn't look at it as a career at the time, or did you?
I couldn't because I had muscle, and at that time it strictly went by weight and height. And I'm only 5'4.5" tall, and sometimes they'd make me 5'4", and sometimes they'd make me 5'5". And that meant my weight could only be 145 to 150, and that's it. And at the time I weighed 150, but I had 34 triple D boobs.
Oh, your boobs cost you?
And so I was always within 5, and they wanted me 5 pounds under my max.
Okay.
And so I was on profile, or I was on punishment.
Punishment?
More than 50% of my career. And every supervisor I had was too chicken to go to the commander and let me be seen in my blues. And I was like...
Were you too pronounced in them?
No, I was fine. I looked great. Like I could go in front of the commander and look presentable because it was a matter of looking sloppy. And I was like, I don't look sloppy.
No.
This is what I look like. And I'd be like, just let me go in front of the commander. They didn't want to talk to the commander themselves because they were too chicken to talk to the commander.
Oh, okay. So how long were you in the Air Force for?
I did just over 3 years and 8 months.
Okay.
So it barely missed my 4 year, but that's because I got pregnant and they let me get out. And I was like, you know what? I'm not dealing with this anymore.
Yeah.
So I got out.
So it was an honorable discharge?
Yes.
Okay.
I got all my benefits. I got my GI Bill and everything.
Nice.
And my VA loan and all that.
All right. And did you ever get to go to the, even just to see it, the Air Force Academy in Colorado Springs?
No. No.
It looks like a beautiful school.
Yeah. Yep.
Out of all the military schools, it looks like it's the prettiest.
Yes.
Locational.
Yeah.
Like Annapolis and West Point are nice too, but like West Point's hundreds of years old and it's
very old.
It looks just like almost like a regular Ivy League school.
Oh yeah.
Say like if you go to like a Harvard or a Yale, it kind of has that same vibe to it, just with military people. Whereas the Air Force Academy is much newer, so it's and it's in this vast vista of mountains and
yes
and everything like that. Would you say that you took things from the Air Force that you were able to kind of take for the rest of your life and apply in other ways? Like did they teach you something in terms of about yourself personally? Because you grow up a lot from 18 to almost 22.
Yeah.
So.
It made me negatively. It made me too body focused.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Because it sounds like they're very very stringent on on dimensions.
Yes, and they would tape me. They would tape my body, and I would fail by half an inch. Literally half an inch cost me my stripe and cost me my career.
Wow.
I would have stayed in if I didn't have those restrictions because I really loved it. Like it was fine. I loved working with men and fire department. I loved all that because finding out now in my 40s, I'm probably a little bit ADD and autistic. So I'm like, that was why. Because I didn't get along with girls because I wasn't fake. I couldn't be fake. I didn't know how to be bubbly and fake about it. And so that wasn't my personality. And so, and having boobs, I was automatically assumed a slut. So I just avoided girls and I hung out with guys the whole high school experience. And so in the Air Force, I fit right in because it was just a bunch of guys. So.
Okay. Is that during that time, is that where you met your husband?
Yes.
Was he in the Air Force too?
He had just gotten out and he was a civilian for the Air Force.
Okay.
A GS, a government servant position.
Okay.
Civil service.
So did he work on base?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yep.
All right.
Yeah.
So after you left, you decided you went to school to get 2 degrees, or how did that?
Yes.
Okay.
So I started school when my kid was a baby, and that was a mistake. And I was like, overwhelmed. So then I stopped. But then I went back in 2018 and finished 2 degrees in 1 year.
Really?
I took 19 credits each semester.
Wow.
Yeah.
What are the degrees in?
Accounting technician and medical assistant.
Okay.
I couldn't decide between the exact number world and the medical I love.
Okay.
So I just got both. But then, this pays more than both of those.
Yeah,
words,
I was going to say, how long after you got your degrees did you segue into doing what you're doing? Or was it kind of before? It was before. Okay.
2015 is when I started.
That's right.
All this.
That's right. Sorry.
Yeah. So, I got them because my GI Bill ran out after 10 years.
Okay.
So I had to get them before it ran out. Or 15 years.
Because if you got in 99 and then you were left in 2003?
Yeah, so...
And if you got the degrees in 2019, so maybe 20 years? Or 15?
I graduated in 18, I believe.
Okay, so that was 15 years then from...
Yeah, so it runs out at 15 years. Because I had to use up the last of it before then.
Okay. So originally, you started doing the modeling stuff, but then you thought, you didn't think that was going to go very far, so you were...
Well, I wasn't doing it to be a model. I was just doing it to feel good about my body because it had changed a lot with pregnancy in that 1 year.
Yeah.
It went a lot. And so I spent 12 to 14 years just hiding it, just hiding myself, hiding my body. I went from having a Playboy body before pregnancy and the Air Force telling me that I was too fat because of the boobs.
Yeah.
And I had a 6-pack.
Really?
Yeah. And I could bench press 165.
Yeah.
So the boobs were the problem and the muscle tone. And so then I was like, and then in that 1 year of pregnancy where I could breathe and eat, because I would starve myself for weigh-ins in the Air Force and stuff. So the 1 year of pregnancy really just, I fucked it all up and gained 100 pounds. And I was like, that was...
Yeah.
So then I was like, not myself for 12 to 14 years. And I one day was like, I went online and I saw other people and I was like, they have my body or normal bodies or different bodies. And they're getting... people are saying they're great. And I'm like, okay, I need someone to tell me that because I don't believe it.
Yeah.
I don't believe it myself, and it doesn't matter that my husband and I were active and everything. I wanted to, because I'm pretty sure I have major body dysmorphia because I couldn't tell that, like, I would think that I can't fit in this chair, but I can fit in this chair.
Yeah.
But I can look in the mirror and be like, oh, you're too big to fit in that chair.
Yeah. Well, and I know that you said you didn't want to get too deep into this, and we don't have to in terms of the psychology of it. It's just, I'm just happy that, so you started it, and then, so what did you start posting initially? Just,
It was strictly cleavage at first.
No face, nothing.
It was just like
start
cleavage.
with the boobs.
Yeah, and then it would be the selfie angle, that, the good angle, the way up high angle.
Yeah.
And then it would be something that hides my stomach but shows everything else. And, it was just, I would always work around hiding it as best I could. And that was how I got along. And I still didn't believe the praise. I still didn't believe the hype forever. It took me a really long time.
Long time?
Very long time.
But obviously you kept with it though, because you didn't, I mean, what like, if you didn't believe it in the beginning, what made, did you just like doing it because?
I did like doing it because I did like the, because you get about 99% positive.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to keep getting that.
Yeah.
And hoping that I'll agree with them someday. Because yeah. And then about 6 months into it, Busty Von Teased said, why are you not selling? And I was like, because no one will buy it. And she's like, they will. And I was like, no. I was like, hell no, they won't. I could make $5 a week, maybe. So,
well, where did you start posting originally? Was it on
Instagram?
Just Instagram,
yeah,
okay.
Just Instagram. And about 6 months in, I started posting on Tumblr secretly. And for free, of course, because Tumblr is free. And she was like, just sell it. And I was like, no one's going to buy it. And so then I started the Snapchat, route. And
isn't it interesting because I think Tumblr's gone.
Yeah, Tumblr's back, but it's not the same.
And Snapchat's still around, but it's not the same.
No,
TikTok, I think, took all of its thunder.
Yeah.
As well as Instagram with the Reels.
Yep. Yeah. So it just, and then once you make it your job, you can't really quit because you want to. So I had to keep faking it till I make it kind of thing. And so I just kept posting and I actually do like my work. Like when I film, I have my phone facing me. So I see everything and I'm like, that looks fine. But then I can like look in the mirror or wear something different and be like, oh, that's not fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
yeah. You can curate your own stuff.
Yeah, and I don't really watch my own stuff that much because I get shy and embarrassed about it. So, but when I am forced to look at it, I'm like, dang, that is really good. So then it gives me a little like, okay, keep going. You're doing fine.
Yeah.
So
I'm curious then, when the idea came to you to start it, was that something that you sat down with your husband and be like, hey, I was thinking about doing this. What do you think about this? Or was it like, you tried it out a little bit and then,
Well, it was easy for me in that way because we don't have like the jealousy, like, thing. And I'm physically more attracted to women. So it wasn't like, I'm going to go post and I know that response will be 99% men.
Yeah.
And I could get 99 pics a day and it wouldn't faze me.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be like, oh, I got to go talk to that guy.
No. Yeah, no.
So he didn't have that worry. He knew that was like, that's not even a threat. I'd have more fun looking through my own feed of all the women I follow.
Yeah.
Being sent things. So there was no jealousy about that. There was nothing. I just said, I showed him what made me do it in the first place, which was the other women I had seen. I was like, look, everything's positive.
Yeah.
Like, I need that in my life.
Well, and I mean, so and when you started it, were you just pretty sure it was only always going to be solo?
Yeah, and I was pretty sure that it was just going to be teasing. I didn't have any qualms about nudity, though. Like, I had already had nude photos because we were apart for our first year of marriage. So I had some nude photos. Back then it was on film and a webcam. And I knew those photos looked good and I approved of those. And I would show them to my friends, like, look how cool that looks, you know? And I didn't care. Like, I'm not shy about nudity on my phone or on digital. I'm shy about actually being naked in front of someone.
Okay.
So, like, yeah, my digital image, that doesn't, like, even when I make new friends now, like women, and they see that my work Instagram and they go further and click on links, that's not me. That's that. Those are just really cool images I took, but that's not actually me.
Yeah.
Like, I could show you on my phone in front of me naked pictures and it doesn't faze me. But like, to take my clothes off in front of you is like a totally different thing.
Yeah, that's interesting. Well, I mean, but then again, I've met other models that are like that. You know, in person, they're a lot more shy than they would
very
be.
Shy.
Than, you know, when you're in an environment that you're more comfortable with and it's just you.
Yep.
So, like, was the response that you got from the get go pretty like really strong and positive, or did it take a little bit of time to get momentum going?
It was actually really strong. I gained 50,000 on Instagram like in 6 months.
Oh yeah, okay.
And that was from zero. Just starting from zero, barely posting more than just the chest area.
Yeah.
And so, and then, you know, there was the barrage of haters, but after you block so many, like, I don't even get a hate comment, but once every 2 years. Like,
That's good.
I've blocked that many people.
Yeah.
Like, I blocked so many people on my free Snapchat that Snapchat won't let me even add friends because the block list is so long.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting. And
because that's how I deal with it. I just block them.
Yeah.
I don't give them the time of day. I don't argue with them. I just block.
Yeah. I mean, that's what, you know, if whatever works the best for you.
Yeah, I found that works because if you engage and then block, they come back.
Well, because it's like they just want the response.
Yep.
They don't want to actually like have a real meaningful conversation or debate in any kind of a way.
Yeah.
So, but well, I mean, yeah, and that's good that you were able to, you know, again, that didn't stop you, because some people might let that, you know, get in the way.
Yeah, I that's why I hid myself for a while. Like, why I didn't show my stomach, I would hide it, camouflage it, whatever, until I got my tummy tuck, and then I felt better, and then now I show it. But people who would comment on it before that, I would just, I'm like, I know. What you're telling me something I already know, and other people don't care.
Yeah.
You know, 95% of the people don't care. You care, and I care, but they don't care. And they're the ones paying. So
yeah,
you can just go away.
Yeah.
So,
well, and how long before you started to show more like your face? Like when did it go from boobs to a little more?
Well, the funniest thing is I didn't talk in my videos or online for about 6 months.
Okay.
After starting to charge, so about a year. For a whole year, no one knew what my voice sounded like because it's very deep and I was very self-conscious of it, and I'm very shy and I didn't want to talk.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't make I don't know if you want the abbreviation, but the JOI video, I didn't make that until like 2.5 years in.
Okay.
Because I couldn't speak those words without laughing.
Yeah.
Or giggling.
Yeah.
So I didn't, that was the part that took me the longest. Showing my face was not an issue. I was okay with it. I just needed to find the right angle to feel comfortable about it. And my offspring is now 21. So at that time they would have been in school still. So I did wait a little bit.
Yeah.
But not long, not too long. So that was it wasn't about concealing my identity. It was it was more about shyness.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, and that's again because when you were because again some of the notes being having to deal with your shyness with doing something like this. Is that something that when people like either interact with you that they're surprised about, or is it something that or like, I mean, where are you still at, like, shyness-wise? Do you still have...
I still have it. I get requests for customs that have a lot of dirty talking, and I can't.
That's not your thing?
I can't do it.
Yeah, it's just...
Because this will be my face while I'm trying to do it. Like, trying not to smile, trying not to laugh, and I giggle a lot. I mean, I grew up with Beavis and Butthead, so saying the word hard, it makes me giggle.
Yeah, right?
So that's where I was like, I can't be like, oh, is it hard? Because... I'm going to laugh.
Yeah. And that's, yeah. Unless they want you to do like humiliation videos.
No, I have never done one, and I won't because I just don't. I'm not mean.
Yeah, I
can't do it. Even though they love it, I get it, but I'm not going to do that.
Yeah.
I can't because I'm not a mean person. I'm not going to say mean things to somebody. Even if I don't know them, I don't care.
And even if they're paying you, and even if you know that it's just for their pleasure, it doesn't feel good.
No, it doesn't feel good. It's not my vocabulary. It's not something they can control the size of. I'm not gonna. Now, I don't know if they got an implant and it was something they did to themselves, then maybe, but I don't know. I'm not.
No. That's a different thing.
I'm not going to make fun of someone the way they were born.
Yeah. Have you had a decent amount of requests for that?
No, not often.
Really?
Yeah.
Do people? Because I'm curious. I don't know. Because you feel like, do people think you're you have a more dominant?
They
kind
do.
Of like you're
think
a dom.
I have that. Yes.
Yeah.
And I do have that. I am very bossy in my real life, and I am very dominant, but. Not in the bedroom. I'm not like, no. I could, but I can't do the humiliation side of it. Like I can do it, and I could be bossy, and I could tell you everything like that, but I can't be like, you're a piece of shit. Like I can't.
Yeah. Like treat you like an animal or something like that.
I don't know. It's just not something I've ever done. I'm not an actress also. That's what I like to tell people. I'm not an actress. I'm not claiming to be an actress. So when I do videos, most of the time it's just me having fun and you're watching.
Yeah.
That's it. Like, and I wouldn't be having fun putting you down. I wouldn't be having fun.
Yeah.
When I'm having an orgasm, I'm having that.
Yeah.
And that's what you're witnessing, me having fun.
Okay.
So that's why I try not to do things that aren't fun for me.
Yeah. So when did you graduate from doing, say, just posting pictures to actually doing like a JOI or more sexually involved type content?
It didn't take long.
Okay.
I started my Instagram November of 15 and I started selling March of 16.
Okay. And you knew pretty early on that you were going to do some more, sexually fun type stuff?
See, like I didn't see the actual act with toys as a big leap from, like, I didn't just show boobs for the first 6 months of my Snapchat. I just went right to it. The thing I did separate was having my face in the shot.
Okay.
With the lower body. That I waited until my offspring was out of school.
Yeah.
Because I didn't care if there was a video of my lower half doing things and a video of my upper half doing things. I just didn't want the whole view while my child
while they
was
were
in school.
Okay. I'm sure.
Yeah.
And so would you say that you have your kind of standard categories of your content that you like?
They're not very broad.
Okay.
They're very vanilla, I guess you could say, if you were looking at the whole world of this industry.
Yeah.
It's kind of vanilla, but I'm enjoying myself.
And that's the important
thing. That's what you're watching. You're watching me enjoy myself. I'm not doing things out of my comfort zone. I'm not doing things that are fake. I'm not pretending to be, things I would never be in person. I don't know. I can't follow a script. I'm not going to do that. And when I do end up doing things that are out of like the JOI, it's because I'm so far excited that I get over my shyness. That's the only time I film those. And so people know if I did one, it was authentic.
Yeah.
It wasn't a script and I was really in the moment.
Yeah. And was there a point when you started this that you had any idea it could blossom into like an actual way of making good money?
The first day I made like almost $400 and I was like, oh, okay, so it's not $5 a week. And I was like, but that might not last. And then it lasted.
And this was
so like it was immediate.
And this was the first day when you monetized this. So this was a few months after you just started
6
posting.
months.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
And so at that moment, and you were like, wow, okay, this is actually pretty good.
Yeah.
Is that when you were like, okay, let's drop the whatever other plan I had, and we're gonna. This must have been before you got your degrees, though. So you still, had the idea that you were gonna do something else eventually.
Well, I had the idea that I'll run out of people, to sell to, or I will not age out, but things could change, or
circumstances,
or OnlyFans gets shut down, or. What that wasn't there at the time, but Snapchat shuts down or ManyVid shuts down. All those, like that was my. I actually really just thought I'd run out of people. Yeah, like that was my thing. Like I really thought, okay, I've got.
You'd hit your saturation point of fans.
Yep, but then it turns out Instagram was the
key,
the choke point, because they stifle you when you get too far. I lost 681,000 followers.
Wow.
And because I lost that account. And so then I had to start over, and now I'm at 637.
Okay. But so would you say Instagram is still your best source of gaining new fans?
I have no idea right now, because I hardly use it because they've stifled me so much. And like, I don't even know if it's working. Because it used to be obviously my number one.
Yeah.
Now I have no clue. I have no clue where anyone comes from. I need to do another poll and be like, if you came here in the last 6 months, where'd you find me from? Because I don't even know.
Well, because now you're on so many platforms, right?
I had to be. That moment that OnlyFans said they weren't going to do, for that brief moment, they said they weren't going to do
Adult
what they
work,
do.
A couple of years ago,
that was when my eggs had to go in a whole bunch of baskets. So I started Twitch. I started Reddit, Twitter, Discord, everything.
And you figure that you wouldn't ever go beyond the solo stuff. Like, would you ever do maybe like girl, or was it just?
Well, it's shyness. I can't even when my husband and I film occasionally, because we don't do it often. It's embarrassing. Like, it's shyness. Like just anyone else in the room is hard. I filmed for one company, and Blush Erotica, and it was a 3D, or I don't know what the terminology is, but it's very VR. And they needed to be, they thought they needed to be in the room, and I couldn't talk. Like, I'm just talking, but I couldn't do it. I was like, so luckily their cord was long enough to leave the room, because I just couldn't. And my husband was going to film like behind the scenes, and I couldn't. I was like, you have to go too. I can't talk while you guys in the room, because it was kind of a talking focused one. Yeah. And I couldn't even do it.
It just,
it's just this face happens permanently, and that's not sexy. So like, if I'm going to get into sexy mode, I can't be
you can't
smiling.
cracking. Yeah.
So yeah, it's very bad. I don't know how to get over it. But some people find it appealing that I don't go outside my, and fake it. Yeah. That I can't just turn on fakeness.
Yeah. Well, and there's a lot of fans that prefer just solo stuff. They want it, especially if they form a really strong connection to you, and they have these fantasies about you, and being with another person can disrupt that.
Yeah, and I don't put that content on OnlyFans or OF unless I put it behind a paywall. So if they want that experience, then they pay for it. And if they don't, then they just keep all the solo stuff. Because I have like over 500 videos that you pay that one fee and you get them all. And they're, it's just easier to film solo stuff. Takes a lot of coordination with, the shot and everything to work out right. And he's just as shy as I am. Like, we don't dirty talk in our real life. So why are we going to do it on film? We're not. It's just not happening. So.
Yeah. Well, and again, hopefully you haven't had pressure from fans to do that kind of stuff. I mean, there's always going to be some that want you to.
There's going to be the one or two that do. And then there's the ones that come back every year. Like, are you doing this yet? No. Still not in my wheelhouse. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and I mean, because I didn't know that you had shot with a company because
just one.
Yeah. But I mean, I'm sure you've been contacted by others.
No.
Really?
No, just like Score, but
yeah, I was gonna say at least some.
They do offer a different price to shoot with a person, but I was like, nah.
Yeah.
You know, not I don't. If I was ever going to shoot with another person on purpose, it would be a woman, not a man. I just don't. I already have that in my life. I don't need to do that.
Yeah.
But then I'm just too shy to do that.
Well, and there's also the fact that you might just be making more money doing your own stuff because when you shoot with a company, you just get the one-time pay.
Yes, and that one-time pay was not worth the everything.
Yeah.
You know, being with someone I'm not familiar with and didn't want to be with. That alone wasn't worth the extra. And then the 4 days flying to somewhere by myself or having to fly my husband too, just the money didn't add up with what I could do on my own on the internet myself.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, depending on how the company approaches, because sometimes they'll be cool with you doing solo stuff, and other times they're like, well, if you want to shoot with us, you're going to have to do
right. And the
stuff.
Solo price was very low. I was like, that's not worth 4 days of my time.
Yeah, you're like, I can make more than this in a day.
Yeah,
doing it on my own.
Yeah.
Do you do like interactive type stuff, like live shows or stuff like? No, you don't.
If I'm
that?
live, the only thing I'm doing is topless because
like for Q&As or stuff like that.
Well, I get distracted. I like the distraction of them being out makes me feel like they're not looking at my face or listening that hard.
Okay.
So that makes me not as shy to do live, but I can't work up the nerve to do what I do in videos live.
Okay.
Yeah. Even though no one's there, like I just can't.
It's just
I get like I can't do a live cam type show, even though they're only my paid subscribers.
Yeah.
Like, all they get is topless. And that's just because I distract myself with them. And so that makes it easier for me to talk.
Well, and one thing that you mentioned that was really interesting to me is that that was imposter syndrome, which is something that do you feel like you have that or you had that all the time, even still? So
the very first AVN I went to, I registered with the VIP fan pass because I didn't think that
an industry pass would.
I didn't think I would qualify for an industry pass.
I don't even know if they have them anymore. I tried
to
find. They do because I tried to find them and I wasn't able to find one.
Oh yeah, I did get the industry pass later. I figured it out, but that first year I went up to the counter and I was like, I'm in the industry, but I don't know if I qualify. I paid for this one. And he was like, well, that's the fan pass. And I was like, he's like, do you have a business card? And at the time I did. So I still do, but I gave him the business card and he was like, yeah, you could have got an industry pass. He's like, I can give you one for $100. I was like, well, I already paid $300 for this one. And the $100 one was for 1 day. And I was like, what's the difference? And he was like, well, the only difference is you get into the toy expo. And I was like, well, forget it then.
Yeah.
But I learned that, didn't want to wait in that line ever again.
Yeah.
Sometimes that was a long line. And so, being imposter syndrome, I thought, well, I'm not really in the industry, even though I was. Like, I don't know what my problem is. You have over 500,000 followers on Instagram. But in my mind, oh, no, you only get the fan pass because you're not good enough.
Yeah.
And then... Yeah, I've never put myself up for any awards because no, I don't feel like feel like I do the things that deserve them, or I don't feel like I have the following to support it, I guess. I don't know. Or I would just feel awkward.
Well, I was going to say, does it really matter that much to you? Even if you even if you were to win, would it just? I figure it might be nice, but then eventually you're like,
Yeah, I don't know what it would get me. I don't think it would get me anything.
No.
And I wouldn't believe it. I would be like, oh, I just won because of this or that.
Well, and they're also they're fan voted.
Yeah.
For a lot of them. So it's just basically almost a competition of who has the biggest fan base, not who the actual like winner of the category would be.
Right. And I do have a large fan base on Instagram, but it's so shadow banned that no one would see my request to vote for me. So
yeah. Well, and I mean, you're probably better off just because there can be a lot of stress and a lot of feelings, self-esteem issues if you don't win.
Yeah, that too. Like back in my first year of Instagram, a lot of my gaining of followings was because I would submit my photos to pages that promoted other women and
like what I do on Twitter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there were a lot of contests back then. So that's how I grew. And I would win them, and then that brought me a lot of hate from other models. And so after that first year, I was like, never again. I don't like it.
And so that's another thing I wanted to talk to you about is because you're in a position where since you don't really interact, and I don't think you live somewhere with a lot of other industry people.
No.
So you're not around that environment, and the only time you're around other pretty much is when you come to events.
Yep.
So, was it interesting or just like, do you feel grateful that you're not around that very often? Because I mean, have you met a lot of models that are very supportive and are fans of yours, or like, is it?
Actually, everyone's been very supportive. The first thing I ever went to was Miami X Biz, and that's models only.
Yeah.
Or industry
only, yeah.
And at that point, it was nice because everyone was nice. I was like, oh, I know that person. I mean, I didn't know them, but
you knew of them.
Yeah, and they knew of me, and it was cool because we'd commented on each other's stuff, and they knew who I was, and I knew who they were. And every model I've met or interacted with online that I've met in person, we know each other enough to be like, oh, hey, and take a photo together.
Yeah.
So that's cool. And nobody was mean. Nobody's been catty in person or
good.
Online since I stopped doing the contest stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
And so, but if I were around more women to film with, that would be cool, but it doesn't happen. So like I haven't done anything above and beyond. I have boobs, you have boobs, and we'll show them.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, but that can be enough.
Yeah.
We're easy.
Yeah.
We can take just like jiggling your boobs next to each other kind of thing.
Because like Demora, her and I we were each other's first collab.
Okay.
Neither of us had worked with anyone else.
Ooh, what a way who to start with.
Yeah. And so I was like, wow, I feel small, but
which is rare.
Yeah. And I was like, that never happens, but yeah. And so we did that, literally just boob talk and shaking them and latex outfits. And then the next year, which was last year, I met with Ruby May. You met her in line with Angela White.
Yeah. And you got to meet Angela, which is, I'm sure,
for the second time.
Okay.
Yeah. And so it was also just, I have boobs, she has boobs. And then I felt like the bigger boob person, so that was nice.
Yeah. Although Ruby says really nice boobs.
Yes. But like Demora made me feel like I didn't have any.
You're like, man, when are you going to grow?
Yeah. I was like, oh, they don't.
Jeez.
Yeah. So those are the only two interactions I've had where I've gotten to make content with women. And they were very mild, but fun.
Yeah.
And eventually I could see myself doing real, like going the full mile, but I just never have the opportunity, and it's okay if I don't.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't bother me, but a lot of people want to see it, and I'm like, I wouldn't mind doing it, but, I don't live by anybody, and it's just...
Like a full girl scene?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's just also, I would be too shy. Like,
Yeah.
I just, like, I'd have to get over that, too, so...
Yeah, which, I mean... Because, and I don't know if that could be incorporated into the scene, that you're the shy person. Each other,
kind of thing.
The other person can take control of the situation, but would it just get too awkward for you because you're, or do you think that in the course of the scene you actually might get comfortable enough to
It would depend. Like maybe if it was just us and the filming device, probably. But if there were other people in the room, no.
Yeah.
Definitely not. I would probably stay shy and couldn't do it.
Yeah. So, I mean, because have you had other models like try to hit you up and be like, hey, do you want to make content together?
No.
No?
Well, I mean, yes, but they never in the same state.
Yeah.
So it's just a little pipe dream.
It's just difficult.
Yeah. It's just like hey, if we're ever in the same place, kind of a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and it seems like you don't travel too much.
No, especially not for this. No.
Yeah. You go to maybe like this 1 or 2 events a year?
Yes. This and that was
something else.
I went to XBiz. The first thing I ever went to was XBiz. And then I've come to this. I don't know if this is my 4th year or 3rd year.
Because we met at the 2023 one. Was that your first one? The one that was at resorts? Because the one before that in 2022 it was virtual because of COVID.
Oh, well then, yeah, that would have been my first one after that.
Because the last one that was in person was 2020 before COVID. So 2021 and 2022 were both virtual.
Okay, yeah, then it would have been 23.
Okay. So we met both of our first times going. Because that was my first year too.
Yeah.
Yeah, when it was at Resorts World, which...
Is that the year that Demora was supposed to? No, that was last year.
That was last year. She went the first year. Or she went in 2023.
We went and met in the lobby. Okay.
Yeah. We hung out there for a little bit.
Casino or whatever.
Yeah, we were in the Conrad's like little bar.
Yes. Yeah.
That's
right. Yep.
And we were hanging out and just, getting to know each other down there.
Yep.
So, which it's
you weren't filming interviews yet, though.
I was not. No, I had my stickers.
Yep.
Which
we took a picture.
We took a picture with.
Yeah.
But no, I had not started my show yet. Which that was still in the concept stage. But then, thankfully, a few months later, I was able to make it a reality.
Yeah.
So, and I'm really happy that we got this opportunity because I know we talked about possibly doing it last year, but it just didn't work out timing wise.
Because we ran into each other like an hour after the slot time.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because I had a cancellation and and I was like, oh, do you want to? And it was like, I was a little late, but but now we have to get to the most fun part usually for the people is the boob talk.
Oh, okay,
if you'd like to.
Yeah.
So you gave a little bit of a rundown of the fact that they did hinder unfortunately your Air Force career. Mm-hmm. So is that, would I be right in assuming then that you've had a kind of a complex relationship with them over the years?
No, I always wanted them. Always,
so
my whole life.
So you've always liked having huge boobs.
Yep. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. I was sad about the Air Force stuff.
But you didn't blame them.
But I would never have traded them for the world. Like, I didn't want a reduction or nothing. I wanted...
You chose boobs over the Air Force.
Yeah, I chose boobs
right choice.
I loved having them.
Yeah.
I still love having them.
Yeah.
I will never get rid of them. Mm-hmm. I just wear a really good bra so I don't have back pain.
Yeah.
There's no reason to get rid of them.
Okay.
They're great.
So when did they start to grow?
Well, 6th grade, I was still flat. I was like, okay, it's not happening.
Mm-hmm.
I really wanted them. But I was like, it's not happening. Mm-hmm. And then all of a sudden, 7th grade on, I gained a size every year.
Okay.
Graduated with 34 triple D.
Nice.
So, yeah, I was like, okay, they're here.
There you go.
They're here to stay. And then I was very happy with them.
And they stopped at that triple D level?
Yep.
Okay.
Well, I mean, I got pregnant at 22 and gave birth at 23. And during that year, when I gained the 100 pounds, is when I gained more boobs. So I guess they were still at 34 triple D up until 22.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Age 22.
All right. So, and how did you feel when they got bigger? I mean, obviously,
Well, like I lost the weight because it was pregnancy weight, and the boobs were still there, and I was like,
amazing.
I was like, oh,
thank you.
And everyone's like, oh, you'll lose them, breastfeeding, blah blah blah, and I was like, okay, and then they were still there, and they're still there,
and you did breastfeed when you were okay
for a couple months, and they're still there. I'm like, okay, well, they're not going anywhere, and then come to find out there's a lot of breast tissue in there, so that's part of it. I probably would have continued growing. I maybe did and didn't notice the change because it was gradual.
Yeah.
But whatever they are, they're there. Like, I lose weight, they don't go anywhere.
That's nice.
So, yeah.
Because it's sad sometimes when you see a huge boob model, and I mean they lose weight for
Other
other reasons,
reasons, yeah.
and if they're healthier,
Yeah.
it's very happy. It is sad though if they lose some of their boob.
Yeah.
It is.
I would be sad.
Yeah, and I'm not. I would never like say that to a model to try to make them feel bad about it. It's like, again, there's other reasons.
Yeah.
But there are times where like I've seen models that, for instance, that have since retired from modeling that like at one time they looked amazing and then they lost some weight and
they look different.
And and their boobs look different. Like their boobs looked a little deflated.
Yeah.
And you're just kind of like, that sucks a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But again, if they're happy and that's what they want. So, and like, again, it's cool that you liked them from the get go. Cause sometimes when they start growing at a young age, you're
right.
prone to getting teased by other kids.
I did. And then I got accused of stuffing my bra and
but that didn't make you hate them.
No, God, no.
You're like, yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah, right, yeah.
Thanks that you think that about them. But they're real.
Yeah, right, yeah.
And no, I got, accused of sleeping around because I had them. Just because I had them, I was like...
What is with that correlation?
I don't know, because just because they're there and people want to doesn't mean that I did.
Well, it's like, who created this idea that huge boobs somehow increases like sexual activity?
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know either. I think it's because men have we have strong desires when we see like huge boobs or a huge butt. And then that kind of, I feel like, gets the motor going.
Right. But these were rumors started by girls in high school.
Well, and that's crazy.
So it's like, it was a jealousy thing, I guess. I don't know.
Well, because you probably got more attention.
I tried not to. My posture for years was very, I never, like this feels uncomfortable today. Like I will not be in public like this. I'm online like this. We're going to be online. So that's totally fine. But, and only in the walls of AVN will I have this out.
The cleavage
Otherwise, it's zipped.
Yeah.
And so in high school, I wore t-shirts and jeans. Like I didn't dress girly.
Yeah.
I didn't wear cleavage. Nobody saw them ever. Like ever. The tightest thing I wore was a bodysuit with jeans.
Okay.
Or I'd wear an oversized shirt all the time. And so it wasn't like I was showing them off and that gave me my reputation, just literally having them. So
well, and were you an athlete when you were in school?
I did track, but I did the javelin and shot put track.
Okay, I was going to say because
not the running track.
I was going to say some of those events might have been a little more difficult, like a high jump or
no running. I actually had a hard time running in the Air Force too because I'd have to wear a sports bra that was so tight that I couldn't breathe.
Yeah.
It would be so tight on my rib cage that I couldn't breathe, and so
I'm trying to imagine. Being as small at this point as a triple D, because obviously, where are you now, size-wise?
I'm a 36N in US sizing and a 36 double J in UK sizing.
Okay, so that triple D obviously was US size when you
back
were
then, yeah.
An N.
Yeah.
Can you wrap your head around that? You are in the second part of the alphabet at that point.
I just got really lucky because this measurement is 35, which correlates to a 36 band.
Yeah.
And then this measurement is 50.
Yeah.
So the difference between the 35 and 50 is a lot of.
Well, and another thing,
and each inch is a size.
Yeah. Well, and they're pretty spectacular. I will say that.
That's what. Yeah.
I mean, did you even really? Because when you look at huge boobs on other women, you notice that because to me, no two
shapes
sets are the same.
Yeah.
Right. Even you could meet someone who's the exact same size as you, and the boobs will still probably look a little different.
Right. Mine are very wide.
Yeah.
I found that's a difference. Like my underwire is a very wide underwire. Like, and some people's boobs are more skinny and then long.
Yeah. Or
just different. Like
exactly. Like
or
how
they don't have a lot up here, but they have a lot down here.
Yeah, they hang a certain way, but then
Yeah.
also, you know, how big your areola are,
Yeah.
how big, you know, what your nipples look like, how
yeah.
you know how dark the nipple that area is, because
Yeah.
sometimes it can be very. Did you even think about that kind of stuff in terms of? I mean, like analyzing, like how do you think?
Well, I couldn't change it.
Well,
so.
no, but like how do you think they look from just almost like an aesthetic point of view? Personally, do you think that wow, I got really nice looking boobs?
I do.
You
think
do?
that.
Yeah.
Because I got lucky with the ratios of everything.
Mm-hmm.
I was just born that way. I didn't get any surgery done here, just the tummy tuck and thigh lift. And so these are what they are. And I feel like I got very fortunate.
Yeah.
And so
I think a lot of people would agree with that.
yeah, I if I hadn't gained the 100 pounds and I hadn't changed my body, I still had very good proportions back then. But I didn't know it then.
Yeah.
You always think, oh, I wish I could be that fat again.
Oh yeah.
You know, I wish I could be the fat I thought I was fat. But
when you look at yourself from 20 years ago and you're just like, I used to think I was so fat back then, and I'm like, now.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, you look fantastic. So it's not. I mean,
I'm happy with my body now. I just feel like it's a bigger version of what I was then. I weigh 220 now. I weighed 150, 160 then.
So you grew proportional to.
I did. I grew very proportionate. Even when I got my tummy tuck, he just removed the flap, like from pregnancy. Like he didn't take tons of stuff from all over my body or tons of my body off, just the flap of skin. So he took, the 5 to 7 pounds. That's it.
Yeah.
So this body is just literally like a bigger version of that body, and I'm okay with it. I've come to terms with it now that I got rid of the pregnancy flap, because that was the stretch marks and stuff were just, luckily they were only on the bottom half. So when he did it, now I'm okay. I feel like my body's the same, just bigger.
Yeah. So, and I asked this to all my guests, what is your favorite thing about having huge boobs, personally?
I like my silhouette proportions. Okay. I like the hourglass figure.
Yeah. Yeah, you've got,
I like that it looks like that and doesn't. It's been my gauge of looking okay. Like,
so like when you look at yourself in like profile, you're like, yeah, that looks good.
How I want it to look. Yeah, because when I wanted boobs and got them, I was like, that's how I always want to look. I always thought Dolly Parton looked awesome.
Yeah.
Because of the huge boobs and little waist. And,
exactly.
I just thought,
the big hips,
I always want to look like that.
Yeah.
And so I love that. I love the hourglass.
So you like how your boobs basically complete the image.
Yeah.
Because if they were a little smaller, it wouldn't look the same.
And if my butt was a little smaller, it wouldn't work. I love the proportions. I love that even though this is a bigger body, it's the same body I had, just bigger.
Yeah.
And it gives me I have good posture because of it now. Back then, I tried to hide it.
Yeah.
Like, people see my Air Force pics and I'm like this because I don't want to poke out my chest. And now I'm just like, nope, I will.
Well, and you also said that people are surprised when you, or maybe you didn't say this. I inferred it from what you said, but that you do not have back pain. Are people surprised when
yes,
you
all the time.
Okay, that's what I figured, because they always assume that's one of the first assumptions.
I think it's because I don't slouch a lot. I do try to keep my back very. I've always worked on having a good posture because I was worried about them weighing me down. And then also with my band being 35 inches, if I don't wear a 36, 38 bra, because 38 I can put on the tightest hook and it's like a 36. If I don't wear that and it's too loose, it slides up my back, which then these slide down. And then I pull forward and that hurts your back.
Yeah.
So I try to explain to anyone that asks for help, get the band as tight as you can. Even if you can't breathe, it'll loosen up as the bra, like clothing stretches. So get it as tight as you can, even if you can't breathe.
Yeah.
That's the most important part, that's tight. Like, even though I am wearing the proper band, my cups are still a little small. And I'm like, you know what? I'd rather spill out a little than have this slide up my back and have pull forward, because that's where the hurt comes from.
Yeah. Well, and do you think that also the fact that you were so in shape that you had you had strength to begin with to carry?
I think that helped a lot, and I think I always knew that I needed that because of the
boobs.
And because I knew even if they went away, I was getting them. Like I was not going to go without boobs.
Oh, so if they had gotten small enough, you would have gotten implants.
I probably would have.
Okay.
Because they were very important to me. I remember one time before, like I was probably like 20. Well, I was probably 19 because it was before I got married, and I got married at 20. I was going to go out and I put on something, and the hourglass was a little off because the top was just a little smaller than the bottom. And I cried. And my husband, I'm surprised he still married me because he was probably like, what the hell? But I was like, they look smaller. I'm working out too much.
Yeah.
And so like just that little bit, I was like, nope. So if I had something go on where they were gone, I would have got them back.
Okay. You were going to have huge boobs.
I was.
Regardless.
I mean, not this big. I was never aspiring for this, but I knew I was going to have boobs.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure that the fact that, you were blessed with what you have now.
Yeah.
You were meant to be a super.
I feel like it, because I wanted them so bad. I don't know if you knew about the book, Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret.
Yeah, I've heard of it.
And she does the we must increase our bust thing.
Oh, okay.
I read that
when I was
like 12 or 13, and I was like, I'm going to do that every day.
Yeah. There's actually, I don't know if there's a
live action movie made out of it.
Well, there's
right?
Yeah, I think so. But there's also because there's a 90s like industrial electronic group called Lords of Acid, and they had a song called "I Must Increase My Bust."
Well, yeah, that was my chant. I lived by that. I was like, if it's gonna work, I mean, it could work.
Yeah,
and so I did it all the time.
And you love huge boobs on other women.
Yeah.
Now, do you like them? Because sometimes I've had guests that say that they don't like them too big, but they like them big. But do you like them super size, or all doesn't matter?
It's about the person.
Yeah.
Honestly, I am a personality person. Like I could be into a person that doesn't have that big of boobs, and I would be into the person, and so I'd be like, cool boobs.
Yeah.
And then if I'm just looking at nameless, personality-less people online, like a picture, there is a type. There are wide ranges that I like, and then there's some that I'm like, no,
not really.
But it's not a slight to them. It's just
true.
What you visually like. Like you like the color green, but you don't like the color purple. Kind of thing. So, but if I'm with someone or looking at someone or being intimate with someone, it depends on the person.
Yeah, of course.
That makes the attraction. And
do you feel like, though, you having huge boobs kind of acts like a beacon to other super busty women? Because it's like you're in that same
I don't know.
Group? Like
no one's ever approached me about it, so
really?
I don't know.
Okay, well, because there might be times like when you met Angela, for instance, did she like make any kind of comments?
She did write on my photo or on the photo she signed about my boobs. She wanted to live in there.
Yeah, right. There you go.
Being silly, but
yeah.
That I guess I also I don't know. I would have to like not all women are bi, which I find surprising because it's like
yeah, right,
yeah. but like I just don't assume people are.
Yeah, sure.
And so I just think some women are really into men and don't even notice me. I guess, but then like
what else could you do to try to get their attention?
Yeah, there's
not much else you could do.
Then I don't know. Yeah.
So
so I never approach it that way. I never look at it like, can I get with her? Because
no, but like it just because sometimes that kind of as a commonality, especially you find almost a kindred spirit.
Yeah, sometimes at the bar when I'm out with my friends, there women in the bathroom are very nice and they'll be like, "Oh my God, I love your outfit," or "Great boobs," but that's it, just in passing.
Yeah, well, and hopefully they don't get like because one of the unfortunate realities is also like when you have super huge boobs, sometimes you'll encounter people that might feel
inclined,
to do things that are crossing a line that they shouldn't.
I don't think I've had that happen.
That's good.
I also live in a small town, so I mean,
Yeah.
probably not.
Well, and also if you've got your husband with you, that probably discourages some
Definitely
people.
not. No,
You know.
no. But I try not to be away from my friends if I'm out with them too. So
Yeah. Sure. Well,
I haven't encountered that. Although last year at AVN, one guy was very bold.
really?
My husband's standing right here. The guy's standing right here, and we're taking a picture, and he turns and puts his face in here because he's only he's shorter than me.
Yeah.
And so he takes the opportunity to face
To try to get a motorboat.
we were both like
Stunned.
I was stunned, and I was like, okay, that was not okay, but
Yeah.
you got your picture, now go.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, I'm sorry. And
that's the only inappropriate scenario I could think of where someone did that.
Okay.
Did something out of the don't
Don't do that.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we have reached the end of the show,
Okay.
but I hope that you had a good time.
Yeah.
Yeah. I had a great time having you. I'm glad that we were able to make this happen.
Yeah. I feel very red, so
No, it's okay.
it.
I mean, you did a fantastic job. I think people are going to love it.
I'm very shy even right now. Like I'm putting on a good front, but
Yeah. Well,
my body's like, you're shy. See, you're red.
Well, again, I think you did a terrific job.
Okay.
So, and to all of you out there in Huge Boob Land, we will see you next time. Bye.